First of all, how are you feeling?
Feel good.
Haven't seen you in a while. Going into this offseason, Aaron Fentress or Argonian, I'm sorry. Going into this offseason, what do you hope happens with you specifically? Do you think you're going to be back? Do you think you might be traded? Do you have an idea of what you would like to see for your career moving forward?
As far as my future, I don't know what's going to happen. It's completely up in the air. But I've definitely enjoyed my time here in Portland. It's an incredible fan base that supported the team all year long, and I've built some really great relationships within the organization. So that's really all I can say about it right now.
Malcolm, what do you think about Scoot kind of as the season went on? What do you think you saw from him from the start of the season to now?
I saw evolution. I think the last 10, 15 games, I think he took a huge step. We got to see him play some actually really high-level basketball on both ends of the floor, and take a jump, honestly. And people I think were really hard on him. The first half of the season. It's hard being a top pick. It's hard dealing with all that pressure. It's something I've never had to experience. And then we saw him sort of step into his own and, accept it all, embrace it, and, become a way better player than he was at the beginning of the season. So I think as far as for Scoot, he should be very satisfied, still hungry, but happy with how he performed and finished the season and the strides he made, because he made huge strides. And we saw why he was a third pick.
What kind of jump did you make mentally from year 1 to year 2 after going through the process of not just learning yourself and how to navigate an offense, but learning the rest of the league as well?
I think this league more than anything is mental. Big part of it's physical, but the sort of mental fortitude that you have to build while you're in this league is what separates guys from being out of the league in a few years versus staying for a long tenure. So year 1 to year 2 was huge for me, because you come in, guys don't really know how you play. There's not really a scouting report. For me, I was a second-round pick. There wasn't a lot of pressure. I got Rookie of the Year, and then the scouting report is out. You're supposed to take another big jump. My second year was I had another good year, but it was tough, and I realized this is all mental. So I mentally have to figure out how to navigate this and continue to get better, as far as, working on my game every summer, and just get smarter with how I work.
How would you assess Chauncey's performance coaching a team with a lot of young players where you're trying to develop and also navigating the massive amount of injuries?
I thought he was incredible. I know people give him a lot of heat, which, I think they do in any high-level, high-stakes organization. The coach is going to get a lot of heat, but I think with the injuries we had and the amount of, young talent we had and, development we had going on, I thought he did everything he could. I think this would be a tough job for any coach that takes it, because it was a young team that's trying to figure it out. There's not a lot of experience. I thought he did a great job.
Malcolm, what was it like for you this year, going from a situation like you had in Boston, where you guys were in the conference finals, or I guess in Indy, you guys were in the playoffs pretty much every year in the mix before that, and now you come to this team where it's you're the veteran, you're kind of the guy that's like trying to help along these young guys on a team that comes into the season knowing that it's going to be like a young rebuilding thing. Like, what was that transition like for you personally?
Yeah, it's definitely, for me, this year was more mental than physical. Trying to make the adjustment of being the guy in the locker room that guys look to for advice and guidance and structure. But I embraced it. I actually enjoyed the role. I thoroughly enjoy these young guys. I think they're smart, they're hardworking, they're good, high-character guys. So I enjoyed working with each and every one of them. So I can't say enough about the guys we have on this team. And as far as a locker room, this is as good as the locker room gets, as far as high-level people. So I enjoyed the year.
Malcolm, where are you at right now physically? Is the elbow good?
The elbow is good. I'm not 100%, but I'm definitely getting there. I'm taking huge strides. You know, I don't know if you've seen me, but I've been on the court working out, shooting, really doing almost everything. Not everything, but almost everything. So I'm feeling really good.
How close were you to being able to come back and play at the end of the year?
As far as percentage, I don't know. I wasn't. I don't know if I was like on the brink of coming back, but as I said, I was making strides. I was definitely getting there.
Malcolm, you know, Chauncey and Joe talked about creating a culture here, you know, past couple of seasons. I mean, what do you think is the culture being built here or has been built, you know, in Portland?
I think it's a blue collar, tough, gritty culture. I think it has to be because there's so many young guys, and then the young guys you have are, you know, Scoot is tough. If he's going to be the franchise guy, you know, it's going to be an organization and a team built around toughness because he's you know, he's what toughness looks like to me as a young guy. And it, you know, this organization has to have a fighter's mentality, an underdog mentality. That has to be the identity going forward. Because as a team, people are going to sleep on, you know, as we start to really turn things around and take steps and try to get into the playoffs next year.
Malcolm, as it pertains to taking those steps, what from sitting and kind of watching this team, what does this team need to move forward?
I don't know. I'm not the GM, so you know, my job is to show up and lead on the court in the locker room. But as far as what the team needs, I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions.
It seems like the first thing it needs is to stay off the injury list, right?
Yeah,
do
we
you,
got it.
Do you think that had this team been remotely reasonably healthy, that it could have been a lot better? Maybe even pushed close to the play?
Of course, I think this team has great pieces, but I think we have to get healthy. I think that's a huge thing for us. It's a huge team for every team. It's a huge thing for every team, but specifically for us, we had a lot of guys injured this year, and you know, us getting healthy will definitely give us a chance to be in that play-in at the very least.
All right. Thank you, Malcolm.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Appreciate it.
Questions?
Jabari, what did you learn most about yourself this season?
Most about myself. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one.
How do you think you improved the most?
Yeah, I think this year it was kind of me figuring out how I play best, like figuring out what my emotions are like when I play best. How just identity. Like my first year was just learning, and then second year I feel like for me has been creating an identity. So just trying to be poised but still trying to bring the aggression and still trying to have fun at the same time. I think this year just taught me kind of how to connect all that and to just bring the best out of me and then be the best teammate I can be.
I mean, you talked about those emotions. I mean, it felt like you kind of played more with an edge this season. I mean, does that kind of fiery spirit, I mean, how does that kind of channel into your game? How much do you kind of like playing with that edge?
Yeah, for sure. I think it makes everything easier, especially when you can find something to just help you, you know, cause that edge or whatever. So I think I was constantly looking for things and constantly finding new motivation to do that, because it's not an easy thing to do, especially when you're that type of player. Like, some guys are just skilled, so they could have nights where they feel like they don't want to be there but still get away with it because they're shooting the ball and you just don't really see it. But I'm a guy that rebounds, a guy that plays defense, hustle guy, so, and I'm known for that. So I have to make sure my energy's right at all times and just lock in that area.
Is there anything specific you're going to work on this summer?
The shot, for sure. I think that'll open up a bunch for me. It'll just change things for me as a player. So definitely that, and then just get my body together. I think I made a huge leap from last year, and there's a lot more I can do. So doing that will allow me to be more efficient with finishing at the rim, making the right plays for my teammates, and just improving everything overall. So the biggest two things is still working on my body, staying healthy, and then knocking down that three.
you put in a lot of work last offseason, and we saw the benefits of that. I mean, with your explosion from year 1 to year 2. How excited are you to get to work this offseason with the knowledge that you have now of the understanding of the NBA game, and to see with the type of work you put in, what it can do for your game?
Yeah, like just even hearing that just makes me more excited again, because I could be a rookie coming in this next draft class. Like, I know a bunch of guys that were in my draft class that are just now getting a chance, and I'm 21 right now, so I feel like I'm able to get a bunch of this information young, and I'm able to store it the right way, and I have the right people around me, so it just makes me more excited about who I can become as a player. And I know these are important times for me right now to define that, and I just feel like I'm in full control of my career, and it's a big summer for me. I'm gonna look back when it's all said and done and be like, man, that summer changed my life, or that summer changed me as a player, and I should feel that way about all my summers. So.
Bari, I know it's always difficult to take things out personal from a team concept, but you were one of the guys that stayed healthy and had opportunities throughout the season. Do you kind of look at that and make sure you don't take that for granted, because you kind of see younger guys that with Shea and Scoot kind of pick up injuries right out of the gate, and they had those opportunities to take away from them? Do you kind of like evaluate things a little bit differently with that?
Yeah. Can you rephrase it a little bit? I want to make sure I'm answering it the right way.
Just the idea of like having those opportunities and how finite they can be. Does seeing guys younger than you even kind of losing those opportunities because of injuries that kind of make you kind of value those a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I was just talking about that yesterday. I'm grateful for it, because, I mean, you don't want injuries to happen, but it has allowed me to improve and showcase a bunch of things. So I'm happy that I was able to stay healthy during a bunch of that. But for them, I feel like it's definitely unfortunate, especially because it's younger in their career. But I think those are different guys. They're special. They have a lot of great information around them. So, to be honest, I'd be more worried about it if I miss some time like that, just because of my role, and it's different. It's harder for me to figure out things. Those guys are more ball dominant. They have the information, so an injury or missing time I don't think is as significant. And when Scoot came back, you could see that. He changed things around, and then it's going to be the same thing when Shea comes back. So I'm not even worried about that with them.
What do you think of Scoot from like where he was at the beginning of the season to where he is now?
Man, it's different, like on the court, but his mentality never changed. So I see a different side of Scoot. So it's almost like when you guys mention a difference, it's like I have to look at the numbers and look at his play, which is a big part of it. But his composure, just him as a leader, like his attitude off the court, his personality, it never changed. And that's one thing you can respect. Like, me and Scoot have had great conversations, and you could just tell he's a serious guy. You could tell he's dedicated. You could tell he wants to win, most importantly. Like, before we even stepped on the court together, his whole intention was to win and just bring that to the program. So when your intentions are right like that, then it's just only a matter of time before somebody figures it out. I think it's only uphill when you have the right mindset.
There's a lot of young forwards on this team. How did that competition go between you guys, both on the court and then personality-wise?
Yeah. You said the competition? Yeah. I think it was a healthy competition. We do have some great talent in that area for sure. It was exciting to see how like versatile everybody was. I think that was the forwards were like some of the X factors that we had. One guy would get hot from three. One guy would get a stop, a block. Like, there's just so much versatility there. So we definitely pushed each other. As you can see, some people played more at certain times throughout the year. So it was definitely a healthy respect, healthy competition, and I think it just challenges us because a few of us are young. So there's just the sky's the limit. I feel like if we just continue to develop and have that healthy competition.
You guys are one of the league leaders in games lost due to injury. Can you just talk about some of the challenges of excelling as a team and as an individual when you have different guys in the lineup almost on a nightly basis?
Yeah. That's tough for sure because I can't remember like all the times where we were fully healthy. Like when I think back at games that we lost, I'm like, okay, this person wasn't there. Like if we had this person, it would have been different. And I just found myself saying that over and over again. So it's definitely tough in that aspect. And I feel like the best you can do is just have a deep bench, or like just have the next man up understand and let the fall off, if there is any, be as less as possible, and just instill confidence in whoever that is so that they're ready when the opportunity is there. So, yeah, I think that it just goes with all of us having confidence, all of us believing in each other, and just the team being one. And, yeah, I think there's ways around injury for us to still be successful.
Normally when players come to the NBA, they've been a part of teams their whole life where there's been a lot of winning through no fault of your own. It hasn't been that way for you your first 2 years in the league. I just wondering what that's been like for you to kind of navigate.
Yeah, it's been tough, honestly, really tough. And I don't want that to be a consistent thing for me. I feel like what I bring, it shows more on a winning team sometimes, just because it's the little things, and I think it shows a lot even when we've lost. So it's just exciting what it'll look like when we're winning, because those things will be appreciated more, they'll be valued more, and it'll mean more because it contributes to a W at the end of the day. So for me, I've always been like the guy that was like, okay, yeah, he helped us win this game, blah, blah, blah. Like, you just can't leave him out. And it's just tough for me as a young guy when it doesn't contribute to a win. Like, you may have your best game, you did all these things, and then you're like, okay, well, it's not enough. And then you want to put your head down a little bit. But when I go back and look at film, I understand that this league is different, and there's ups and downs, and then, next year could be a different year. So just want to take all the good that I've done and improve on that, and then eventually it'll turn into wins.
What makes you confident that things could be turned around here so that you can have more wins?
Say it again?
What makes you confident that things can be turned around here so that you can have more wins?
Yeah, I think just some of the guys we have, we're talented, but especially some of the younger guys, I think you guys should be excited about it, because the conversations I'm having with people, the mentality is to win, and you can just tell when there's other motives versus someone's mindset to win. So I think the mindset is there, and that changes the way you approach the summer. It changes the way you do a lot of things, and I can't guarantee anything, but I'm excited that there's guys competing with me that want to be here and want to win. So I think I can't say too much on what it can be, but I know we got the right recipe for the people.
How would you assess how Chauncey handled the injuries and developing the young players?
I feel like he did a great job with it. I don't know too much on that one, but I trust coach.
Put you guys in position to grow and develop and playing time. You talked a little about playing time and change and just.
Yeah, I think he did a great job. Like as guys got injured and the young guys came out, he understood that. He changed his vocabulary a little different. He made things easier to understand. He understood that, us younger guys are still trying to figure it out. We could deal with some pressure of trying to replace certain guys, but he just said, go out there, have fun. He instills a lot of confidence in players. He's a fun coach. He's a player's coach. So I think he did a great job in that aspect.
Thanks, Bart.
Thanks, Bart. Thanks, Bart.
Really tough years, but I feel like I was able to learn so much. Being able to be on the court a lot as a rookie, which I didn't expect. So, yeah, just being able to being like a sponge and try to get better every game and every day. and yeah, just keep on learning, I think.
What does it mean to you that you were able to make such a large impact in your first year?
It's basketball, so I feel like I kind of get blinded by that, and just in a way, it's like I try to get on the court and try to help my team as much as I can. But yeah, looking back at it and looking at what I was able to do, I think it's something that I never expected, especially not knowing if I was going to get drafted and anything. I don't know how the process was going to happen, so just very grateful to be able to have an impact on the team, be able to help a program, and be able to learn so much as a player too. I think it was an amazing year for me as a growing aspect. Yeah.
How disappointing was it for you, just kind of the final couple weeks of the season when they were giving all the younger guys kind of a lot of extended run that you had that injury and you weren't able to be out there with them?
I mean, it's hard. It's hard, especially because one of my goals was to be able to play 82 games. I mean, I missed 3 games before my injury, but I was just trying to play as much as I can because I love the game so much, and I knew I was going to have more opportunity towards the end of the year. But life works in mysterious ways. So everything happens for a reason. I'm just grateful that I'm in the NBA, and I know my injury is not too bad, so I know I'll be able to be back by next year and be at a good spot.
What's the timeline with it? Like, when are you going to be fully clear? Do you know?
It's more like a feeling thing, you know. It's ribs and stuff like that, so it's really how you feel. How can you be? I mean, right now there's probably like a couple of weeks where I can't do anything, but just trying to ramp it up from then, and then yeah, it's just about how much can I control the pain.
Why was one of your goals to play 82 games?
Just because I'm a competitor, and I just love being on the court, and I hate sitting on the sideline and having to watch my teammates and my boys play, go on the court and have to go like 100% when I can't participate. So I think it's very important for me to be able to give 100% and participate to as much as I can.
What are maybe some of the things you're going to look to improve this offseason?
I think my shooting, finishing, and ball handling are probably the main 3 things that I want to improve. And then keep on working on all the aspects with this, my physical abilities, or also my defense. Also read the screens better, watch more film, and yeah, just keep on getting better every day.
Do you have an idea yet of what your schedule is going to look like? Are you going to be here? Are you going to Florida? Are you going to Europe? Like, did you know kind of how that's going to play out at least?
It's really hard to kind of plan that right now, especially with the injury. So it's probably going to be a lot of change, but the main 2 places I'll be is probably Portland and Miami. I'll try to go back and forth from there, see how it goes, and then see how much I can do by next month. So we'll see.
If you're able to with the injury, do you want to play summer league again?
I mean, whatever they want me to do, you know. I'm still a first year. I still, like I said, I haven't played an 82 game yet, so I wouldn't be considered as a second year yet. But yeah, it's just being able to just do whatever they want me to do, and just create that connection and build that trust and that respect between us. And then, yes, if they want me to play, I'll play. You know.
Toumani, how important was it for you to kind of embrace the city too? Obviously, the team gave you the Maurice Lucas Award. I mean, how much did you want, to embrace the city? Your first NBA city.
It means a lot. Like I said, I wasn't ready for this. I mean, I didn't know if I was going to get drafted or if I was going to be in a situation where I was going to be able to play. So being able to have that support and all that work that I've been putting, being able to have that work being recognized, I think means a lot to me. And I mean, I can't complain. I feel like I'm in a great place. My whole family, my partner, everybody's feeling good here in Portland, and I'm feeling good here in Portland. And I just glad that I'm able to play and be able to participate and help the team win. So
There's a lot of young forwards on this team. What was that competition like between you guys?
it's funny because I didn't feel any competition. I think it was more a lot of respect between each and every one of us. And I think it's just motivation, try to do, knowing that you control what you can control. And if you're not playing, there's something that you could do better. If you are playing, that means there's something that you do good. And then just be able to understand that. I think we're not trying to, we're competing, of course, on and off the court. But it's not a toxic competition, if I would say. It's really friendly and really respectful.
Kind of in that vein, you come into the season, you come off the bench, you end up getting a starting spot, you end up losing it, then you get back again. Kind of, what was it like in terms of just that process of playing and then not playing as much and then getting back in the lineup? Like, how did that feel from from the perspective of, your first season, you're trying to figure things out?
Well, it was really hard, I think, for everybody, especially with the number of injuries that we had and the number of changes that we had to make almost every game. But like I said, I think I was getting lost in a little bit, and I'm still a first year, so I'm a competitor. So of course I want to be on the court as much as I can, but I need to remember how much I have to learn still, and that it was my first year in the league, so I can't expect too much out of that. But it was a great year. It was a great year for me personally, being able to get on the court and be able to learn.
You talked about the road trip where things kind of went sideways in New York, and the team kind of had a meeting and kind of reset some expectations, kind of what Casey was talking about for you. What did you kind of figured out from that point until now, and then kind of going into next year, not only kind of where you are on this team, but where your role is in the NBA and expectations of you kind of going forward for your career?
I think right now who I am is defense first person. I'm trying to still find myself as an offensive guy. I feel like throughout my whole career in college, I've been a 4-5 man. So it's my first year playing on the wing and be able to put the ball on the ground a little bit more and not playing back to the basket. So it's a lot to learn, a lot of new habits that I have to have. But I think my role gonna keep on growing, depending on how much work I put in into my role, who I want to become. I think my shooting is gonna get better. I think my ball handling is gonna get better. So I don't want to put any limit on myself, but I think that's who I am right now.
How do you enjoy earning that reputation of someone that brings toughness to the team, but also a defensive stopper?
I love it. I love it. That's all I'm about. I'm all about effort and try to make winning plays and try to help the team. If the team need me to score, if the team need me to guard the toughest player, I think that I'm willing to do it. And like I said, I don't want to put that limit to myself. I think I have a lot more things to prove. But yeah, it's just very humbling and exciting that people can see that through me.
Toumani, when we were in Boston, you weren't even playing, but there was Belgian media there asking about you and your season. What's that been like to have, not even just support, but just interest from your home country as a guy who, is one of the few players that's ever made it to the NBA from there?
It's been crazy. It's been amazing. It's not a reaction that I was expecting, especially because basketball is not really a big sport back home. I know they go crazy for soccer and all that other stuff, but I didn't expect the fans and the community to go as hard as they did for basketball. So, like I said, it's very humbling, and it's a dream of mine that I always wanted to do, be able to represent my country, my family. So, just very grateful for the opportunity and be here today.
Is there a Toumani Camara returns to Belgium tour that's going to happen this season?
I have 2 basketball camps for the kids in July. So I will go there in July and try to spend time with the kids in the community, and at the same time try to spend some time with my family. So we'll see.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Toumani.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks, man.
Thanks. First off, just how do you, you're not going to get out of it. So, in general, how do you leave the season? How do you look back on it?
How do I look back? I guess the way I've been putting it is, it was challenging, and there was a lot that didn't go the way I wanted it to, as an individual and as a team. But I think through all of that, there was a lot of opportunity to learn. And so I think for myself, my biggest takeaway was just having been present for the lessons that were available and feeling like I was able to grow as a person and a player in spite of the struggles that we had as a team.
Matisse, are you going to play for Australia this summer?
Yeah. We'll start training camp in June in Australia, so I'll have a busy summer. It'll be like 2 years of straight basketball after this one, which is an awesome opportunity. And I'm excited because I'll get to spend more time with Dua.
How's the ankle?
Ankles can get it better. Yeah, it's getting better. yeah, I'll probably start training again soon, just to get prepared for my next training camp.
Chauncey talked about how he would like to have seen what this roster could have done had the injuries not ravaged you guys. What do you think would have been the potential for this team without the injuries? And was it pretty frustrating for you being a part of that list and watching people constantly going in and out of the lineup?
Yeah, it was tough. I was talking to Ant about this because he was like, I swear it's only Portland. Like, we just get so many injuries. And he's like, because there's no sun. He's like, there's got to be. I mean, obviously coming from Florida, of course he thinks that. But he's like, there's no sun. That's why we all get hurt. But no, it's super challenging. But it's a part of it, right? Like, I haven't had a year in this league where we didn't have guys go down due to injury. It's so rare to see anyone play through a season without missing a game. And if they do, they're still injured. They just find a way to make it work. Yeah, it's not ideal. And if anything, it's just one of those hurdles or a piece of adversity that like helps you learn or find a new direction to take things. But yeah, it's I hate to say that's par for the course, but to a certain degree, like it is. It's what like you sign up for. We're not football players, so we don't have to worry about like anything super crazy. But in basketball, it's still a contact sport, and you end up having things go wrong.
But given that I think you guys finished with the second most lost games to injury in the entire league, does that lend hope then that maybe next year, if you guys can be healthy, even without making a ton of moves, that this team could be a ton better?
Yeah, I mean, could we be better if we had all of our if we had our best players playing?
I mean, maybe even be in the running for a play-in as opposed to just a few games better.
I guess you don't know. I'd like to think so. I think that we have really talented guys. You never know how the pieces are going to fit together, but I think having our guys versus not having our guys gives us the best opportunity.
But that was also part of the problem with the season, is that you say you don't know how everything fits together. And one of the goals this season was to see how everything fit together, and that wasn't really able to be accomplished. Which I
Yeah,
imagine
I mean,
adds to the
it
frustration.
sounds like someone has quite the challenge on their plate to decide if it's going to be another year of trying to see how things fit together, or if it's going to become how can we win now? And I'll show up and do my job after they figure out what they're going to do with theirs.
Matisse, what's Chauncey like as a teacher?
That's a good question. Me and him just got done talking about that. I think he has a presence, which I'm sure we've all felt, and I think as a player, when he would take the time to stop a practice or stop a shoot around and direct us or teach something, it was felt across the board. It was like those moments where everyone just kind of can breathe and feel grounded again. And I don't know how to really quantify that or put it into like words, but he has an ability to create understanding for players across the board, because we had a unique roster where we have a guy who's played 10 seasons and we have multiple guys who can't even buy alcohol, and being able to explain something in a way that everyone across that spectrum can grasp it and then apply it. Yeah, I think it just speaks a lot to his ability to do that, because it's not easy. Even if it's really easy to talk big picture, high level things, just because, especially for him, because he's done it and lived it. But the real challenge comes from being able to explain the simple stuff. And in my experience, he's done one of the best jobs of doing that.
Steve, it seems like you're a guy that wants to make kind of deeper, connections with your teammates and coaches and whatnot. I mean, do you feel like you've been able to do that with this coaching staff and the teammates that you've had here in Portland?
Yeah, it's
Away from basketball, even.
a little bit away from basketball. It's a weird environment, right? Like we call each other a family or brothers or whatnot, but in all reality, it's like we were chosen by other people to work together. And I think in an environment like that, this has been one of my favorite experiences, having turned it into real relationships, because it can very easily stay as just coworkers or strangers to a certain degree. But I think we did a good job, and I don't know if it was a conscious effort or just a testament to the people that we have on the staff and the players that we have. But yeah, it felt like there was a level of care or understanding of each other as human beings that doesn't always happen in this line of work.
Matisse, what is your hope for yourself professionally going forward? Yeah, I know when you first got to Portland, you talked about being able to expand your game and kind of do some things that maybe you hadn't been able to do before. So what does that look like for you now, going into kind of the real, I guess, meat of your prime?
Mm-hmm. This year was, on a team that's trying to figure themselves out, there's a lot more opportunity for individuals to explore themselves as players. And I feel like I got that chance this year, whether it was initiating the offense or being an option off the dribble, or just more catch and shoot or movement shooting. And so for me, having now done it, because we can all do it in the off season, right? And think about it and all those things, but it's very, very different once you've done it in an NBA game. And so now to have had that experience, for me, it's take that and then just refine it. Because for my previous years in the league, I just didn't have the experience. So I didn't know what more I could do. Obviously, you think you can do so much when it's just you, the ball, and the hoop. But when it's the structure of an NBA game and everything that comes with that, I was able to show that I could do a little bit more. And so then I guess for me this offseason will just be to get better at those things.
All right. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks, Matisse.
Thanks, people.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody. All right. Questions for
And so just your general thoughts on the season. Obviously, you had the injury that kept you out for a minute, played, you sheltered for the last half a month or so.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of view this season for you?
I think it's for everybody a lot of learning experiences. Just, navigating that. Obviously, getting injured at the beginning of the season, you didn't plan on that happening. But at the same time, it's just, like I said before, when I was injured, I took a time, to sit back and just watch the team and see what we needed, and just watch the players, watch them grow, watch them experience their first NBA games because it was the beginning of the season, and just try to figure out what I can, where I can fit in and help these guys, become better players. And I think for the most part, everybody on the team got better, this season. Whether it was the young guys just figuring out their way in the NBA, figuring out their role in the team. And, for me, just figuring out how to be consistently there for them each and every game. I think for the most part I learned, from each and every game how teams, guarded me and, trying to navigate that each and every game. And, I think this season was the most I've ever, really studied the game. So I think that's going to change, elevate my game even more. The more I study and the more I realize, my impact on, on the game.
And what did you think of Scoot's progression from where he was at the beginning of the year to where he is now?
No, Scoot's, I said this before as well. Scoot's always been, you could tell he's a hard worker, and he understands, where he's at. You know what I mean? So I think it was going to be pretty easy for him to get acclimated and, kind of get comfortable, he's 19, 20 years old. So, you just got to give him some time to understand. And I think over the past month of the season, you see, those real flashes of who he can become. And, you just look forward to him, having a summer here and, just being ready for next year to really show, his progression as a player and as a point guard.
Was it frustrating that the combination of you, Shaden, and Scoot didn't get a lot of time together, and whatever combination, because you missed so many games, Scoot missed some, and then, of course, Shaden missed a ton. Was that pretty frustrating?
For sure. Obviously you want to have, everybody, playing at the same time and give yourselves the best opportunity to win and kind of, build chemistry. And it felt like, throughout the whole season, it was so many different lineups we were trying to throw out there because, one guy would come back and one guy would be out, the next game. And so we really couldn't build, that much chemistry, on the court. But, I think for the most part, everybody had their little bit of time with them, but it wasn't enough for us to really figure out what works and what's the best, lineups, to play for an entire season.
And this is the year for you too, where you kind of took a step in terms of like being the man on the team and a leadership role with Dame gone. How do you feel like that went for you this season? And do you feel at all like maybe the injury might have hurt that a little bit? Because I know a lot of times players talk about like if you're not out there playing, like it's kind of hard to.
Yeah. If you're not out there playing, it's kind of hard, especially at the beginning of the season. Like you want to start off on a good note with the team and playing pretty well and stuff like that. So that kind of took a step back, but. Obviously when I wasn't playing, I still try to find moments to, kind of put my 2 cents in or, give some advice to a young player if they needed some. And, maybe tell the coaches of what I see and maybe it could help us. But, I think for me this year it was, like I said, just a learning experience. It's my first, opportunity to, step into that type of role. And, obviously it's ups and downs. It's kind of a give or take, sometimes, based off, say, how teams are guarding me, maybe you want to be ultra aggressive and still trying to beat the coverage, but, trying to, a lot of sacrifice and giving myself up and, trying to make, the quote unquote right play each and every time. And that might take away from how you seen as, being successful in that game. So I think that's one of the steps that I took, just showing the guys that, I'm willing to sacrifice my, own self-gain for the team. And so I think that's one of the things I wanted to show them early when I came back and started playing is that, whether I quote-unquote have a good night or not, I'm going to always try to make the right play for the team for us to get better and, learn how to, actually win games.
You've talked before about being ready to win now after, kind of going into your prime, I guess. How close do you think that you guys can be? How far away is that here, given the way the last 3 years have ended? How far away is that for this team here?
It all depends on how, how we approach the off season. And, each player knows what they need to get better at. That's the things we kind of discuss. Obviously, it's, the past week or, during these extra interviews. And so I think everybody has to understand what they need to get better at in order for the team to get better. So I think if everybody takes that seriously and come in motivated to be like, we don't want to have another season like this because for me, my 6 years done now and I'm going to year 7, like I want to, have the opportunity to win. Yeah, I know. I think, obviously, losing is not fun at all, So I want to have an opportunity to, really show myself in the playoffs and winning is, one of those things that obviously everybody wants to do, but, for me now, that's like top priority.
Can you, Scoot, or how long can you, Scoot, and Shaden coexist before a change or something has to be done to solidify the backcourt?
Ultimately it's not up to me, but, I'm gonna come in each and every time, whether the lineup is all 3 of us, 2 of us, 1 of us, it doesn't matter. I think I'm gonna come in with an attitude of we're gonna figure it out. So whatever lineup is happening, we're gonna figure it out to the best of our abilities and try to make it happen from there.
You mentioned 7 years. You've been a part of this franchise when it was winning at the highest of highs, and you've also been a part of it now where it's been a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Just what has it been like for you, kind of navigating this different experience in the NBA with all of the losses?
I think, obviously, like you said, it's kind of new to me a little bit. I come in as a young player into a winning team, and so you see a different perspective on how things are done on a daily basis as a team, and what do each and every player do to become successful for the team. And so you gotta try to implement that into what we're trying to do now. You know what I mean? So it's a long process for sure, but that's just something that you have to go through, you know, especially when you have like kind of a roster turnaround and you're trying to build a culture with, you know, a lot of people in new positions. So it's definitely won't be easy, but I think it's something that can be done for sure.
Speaking of new positions, it's kind of been a different position for you this year, leading this team. What have you learned about yourself in terms of leadership this year?
Just, you know, just kind of stretching myself and seeing what the things that I can do that I didn't think I could do. You know what I mean? Just using my voice a little more. Like I said, I'm always, you know, I've always been a quiet guy, but you know, I find myself trying to intentionally get out of my shell a little bit for the betterment of the team, and so that was fun. You know, doing some quote unquote uncomfortable things sometimes. So, but I mean, that's the best way I'm be able to grow, you know, as a player, and how the team's gonna grow if I, you know, put myself out there like that.
And we asked a lot during the year about, you know, connecting with DA, you know, obviously the injuries, throwing that off. I mean, you know, how do you think DA kind of came in here and impacted this roster and kind of changed things for you guys?
Yeah, DA, I mean, obviously, you know, people say he had a rough start, but it was kind of just figuring it out. And obviously, like I said, it was a lot of moving pieces and a lot of guys injured coming in and out of the rotation. So I think once everything kind of settled down and, you know, me and him started playing a little bit more together consistently, that's when we just figuring out, you know what I mean, perfect timing on pick and rolls and stuff like that. And you can really see him getting his confidence up and his rhythm. And so I think, you know, credit to the coach staff for putting us in a position like that, and me and him communicating on how we want to play together as a tandem. And so, like I said, it's been good. You know what I mean? Like, it always works out perfectly when I'm getting blitzed and I hit the pocket, and it so happens DA's favorite spot is right there. So that kind of worked out perfectly, and it was a good way for us to figure that out.
How would you assess Chauncey's performance, especially given the injuries and playing a lot of young players, and you've been with him now 3 seasons?
No, it's been great. Like I mean, I credit Chauncey for helping me like kind of change the trajectory of my career, and you know, all the players respect Chauncey. You know what I mean, for all the things he done as a player and all the things he has to, you know, deal with as a coach. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you know what I mean, once you have like that many roster turnarounds or that many trades happening at a trade deadline, and you're trying to implement a culture here, and a lot of things are changing, you know, roster wise. That's hard to do as a coach. And it's hard as a player, you know what I mean, trying to build, you know, real relationships with these players and try to build something. And you know what I mean, one day they're here and one day they're gone, and some guys sometimes they're injured and you really can't be out there on the court with them. So you know, I just credit him for being able to pivot so well and still keep everybody together and positive. I think that's one of the biggest things that, you know, I'm most proud of this year, is that no matter how, you know, bad things were, you know, most of the time the players were pretty positive, and, you know, each and every game, it wasn't there was no quitting us, you know what I mean, no matter at any time, whether, you know what I mean, we losing by 50 or we winning, you know what I mean. I think everybody stayed even keel, you know, for the most part throughout the whole season. So I credit Chauncey for keeping us, and the whole coaching staff for keeping us together like that.
And the games that you were out there this year, how far do you think you progressed at that point guard spot, and kind of what do you see as kind of the benchmarks for you going forward?
I think, you know, for sure, I think I for sure gotten better this year. You know, like I said, just, you know, seeing different defense coverage, whether it's normal blitz or they there, you know, just at the touch, or they doing a box and one, you know what I mean? So I think, you know, seeing those things every day and watching film on it, you know, with my trainer or with the coaches, and, you know, that has helped me out a lot. And I think, for the most part, I think I've, you know, came into the season each and every year better at something. I've improved each and every year of my career. So I plan on, you know, continue to try to improve on the things I need to improve at, whether it's, you know, continue to improve playmaking, continue to improve off the ball, playing off the ball as well. So just give myself a chance to be harder to guard.
What do you think is kind of different about the Blazers in 2024 compared to 2021 before Chauncey got here? You know, what impacts do you think you've seen Chauncey specifically make with this team and this organization?
I think for the most part, it's basically kind of a real, like, a toughness. You know, obviously, as a player, Chauncey was, you know, considered, you know, a pretty, like, toughness was his thing. And so I think for the most part, you know, everybody that comes in here understands that, you know what I mean, Chauncey doesn't play about, you know, not being tough. And so I think that's one of the things he set the tone for. And each player he's coming here, he's impacted them. You know what I mean? Whether it was off the court, on the court, you know, he's been able to, you know, reach different players no matter how much time they were on the team or how much time they were injured. And like I said, that's one of the things I respect about him most is that he's able to still pivot and do what he has to do, you know, for the betterment of the team. And so I think he's made everybody buy in each and every year to what we're trying to do, whether it was successful or not, whether we had a good team or not, or we were winning or not. I think we've been able to buy into what he's preaching, and I think it's still to this day. I think everybody believes in him. All the players believe in him. We understand the situation, and you know what I mean. His desire to win is just as much as ours. So I think that's what I would say about Chance.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Huh?
Overall, how would you say your first season here went?
My first season here went amazing. It was a great learning experience. I truly got to see what type of player I am. You know, just going through adversity and, you know, just having a new start. You know, it was filled with a lot of excitement, a lot of adventure, a lot of obstacles, a lot of ups and downs. And I learned about a lot of who I am. You know, I'm truly a leader, and you know, I'm a survivor as well. When it comes to a lot of trials and tribulations, you know, I still push through. This season, I learned how to play with, you know, young guys, and you know, learn how to be a vet, a true vet. Learn how to be transparent when it comes to their play, and you know, just be a true example on how to approach the game, and you know, just to keep my professionalism to a par where they can learn from, and you know, knowing personnel with these young guys, and you know who to yell with, who to wrap your hand around sometimes, and in the moments of battles, and you know, just dialing in with my coaching staff, and you know, having them trust in me and believe in me. So it was a smooth season. I'm happy I finished all strong.
What was it like for you going from, you know, being, you know, a younger guy in the league, and then you know, you're on a team with a bunch of veterans in Phoenix, and then you get here and you're one of the veterans, and it's all yours?
Yeah, you know, the tables turned quickly. You know, I'm just happy that, you know, the last team I was with, you know, being around great players and guys who's been in the league, you know, I didn't take any of that for granted, so I brought some of that with me, you know, and it made it easier, you know, dealing with younger guys, and, you know, having the patience, you know, and, you know, just understanding that, you know, the program is bigger than you, and, you know, I'm just a little piece of the puzzle when it comes to, you know, just dialing in with these younger dudes and, you know, growing with them, and I have fun doing it too, and, you know, just earning their respect. You know, you can call them rooks all you want and young guys, but them dudes truly are students of the game, and, you know, they're competitors as well, and, you know, they respect hard work as well. You know, they know bull crap when they see it too, so, you know, you just have to, you know, come in and just, you know, just walk in and just be on the same mission as they are, you know, and, you know, the chemistry grows from there.
This season was a lot about development, young players, chemistry, things like that. Do you hope that next season is more about trying to win?
Ain't no hope. That's the plan. You know, the hope was here, you know, just hoping we, you know, learn basketball, hoping we stay out of injuries, you know, things like that. You know, this was the hope year. Next year won't be any hope. It would just be us knowing where we're planning on going, where our hard work is going to go, and us, you know, winning games leading to the playoffs. And I feel like we have the pieces here, you know, despite the injuries and all the other ups and downs that we had this year. You know, we truly are an exciting team to watch, and, you know, we've been competing with teams shorthandedly, and, you know, Coach Billups has set the standards on how we must play, regardless of who's out there or not. And that's just PDX basketball.
After going through an adjustment period this season like you have, are you looking forward to starting next season like you ended this season to help the winning process?
Yeah. What I showed you guys the second half of the season is just what I've been trying to show my whole career. I've been dealing with a lot of, little injuries, little weird things about my body and things off the court, but, settling in and dialing in and finally getting my feet under me, you truly see what type of player I am and the type of consistent player I am as well, and the leadership I bring to this team. And, this is just truly who I am, and I won't short myself. The numbers you see each game, night out, that's something I'll be keeping myself as a standard, and it won't be a surprise.
Did you learn a lot about yourself late in the season when you were out there with a bunch of young kids and sort of being that rock for them?
I really wasn't really worried about who was out there with me. Them dudes is my teammates, and going through practice and learning the game like them, as well as I didn't feel no way. I just know we had to learn how to play basketball together and still try to win the game at the same time. Was it easy? No. But it was fun. And it was difficult and very challenging, but at the same time, we were growing trust for each other and understanding, certain plays and certain things that could deflate us. We stuck together, and it was really a together thing, just young guys understanding and having that feeling like, this is a team. And, that's a huge feeling when you realize your brother have your back that you laugh with on the bus with and things like that, but he really got you on the court when the lights and cameras are in front of you. So, it's really a great feeling just to be out there with them and, watch them grow and just, see them get their feet wet and, just come out and blossom to their own player.
Did you feel like you had enough opportunity with all the injuries to build a relationship with Ant, with Scoot, with Shea, to kind of project where you guys can be going forward?
Hey, most definitely. I feel like I've done enough to where, I've communicated off the court with my guards and, just knowing what they want, the type of player they are, the type of person they are. And, it's made it very easy on the court, just dialing in with them and competing with them, just knowing how defensive coverages, how I have to set screens and how they, how would they want me to roll, whether they want me to pop and things like that. After so many guards on this team, but such great talents, it's really, it's really fun to understand that who you have to screen for and how you screen for them. It's a fun thing to know, and it's a great chemistry to have. And I think I got in enough games with everybody to really know their personnel. I watch film on my guys all the time, and I'm sure they watch film on me. But I pretty much know how all of them play, and it's pretty easy and fun out there. It's just who has the ball, how you want to guard it.
What has it been like for you coming from Phoenix, where the expectation is championship, and then coming here and having those expectations be different, and just going through a season like that?
To be honest, it wasn't always championship, and with the Suns, probably had that feelings for 2 years straight. Here it's still the same thing. We're still trying to win games. We're still trying to win. We're still trying to win in some way, learning basketball, having these dudes, understand the game. It's still a win for us in a way. And, it's still the same standards. You still have to get out there and play and, play as hard as you can. You treat every game like it's your last. And, the standards we have here, it feels like a championship, winning games will be our championship, and, trying to make it to the playoffs and making that our next goal is our championship. So we have a long ways to go, but, those will be our championships now until we fulfill those team accolades.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Delano, just I guess in general, how do you view your time in Portland after obviously arriving here after the trade deadline?
Man, I just want to start off, I can't express, how thankful I am towards the whole organization. Just accepting me with open arms, from day one. Coming in, putting me in position to be aggressive, making sure I have everything I needed. I feel like I never missed a beat, when I came here. Obviously trying to get into the flow of things takes some time, but, just treating me as, one that I've been here since the beginning of the year. Felt accepted, so I just want to shout out to everyone for that. Everyone here, dedicated to trying to win, building towards that. Everyone's locked in, grinding, doing their job to the best they can. But we're just trying to figure it out. Grinding this off season. So it's going to be a good off season. But yeah, man, I had a great time for the half the season I was here. Put me in position to be aggressive, show what I can do in this league, and like I told Joe, I told Chauncey, man, I'm just very, very thankful. They gave me the opportunity to feel like I was a child out there playing. Like this is what we dream of. So yeah, I just always wanted this opportunity. But definitely just trying to piece it together and contribute to winning next year.
Delano, what was your impression when you got traded here of like the culture that they're trying to build here? What was kind of your first impression?
Well, I knew playing against the team for a while, but they're very young, so I knew that coming in. So that was really about it. Just coming in, what I thought. I just knew it was a very young team. A lot of talented guys. I also knew a lot of guys were hurt, so I knew I had an opportunity here. Like when I first got here, talking to Joe on the phone, him telling me I'm gonna have an opportunity, just be aggressive, be able to, make the most of it. And like when your number is called, like when opportunity meets preparation, like I feel like I prepared for the opportunity I got here, and I was able to show what I can do.
What are your impressions of Scoot having seen his development kind of the second half of the season?
Man, Scoot, it's funny too because even before the season, I was talking to guys, I think JB on the Celtics, about Scoot. Yeah, man, he's nice. He's really good. He has an NBA body. He was ready from the beginning. It just takes time in this league, man. Everyone wants you to come in day one and just be the top of the top. It takes time. Scoot's very talented, hardworking. So when you have those two things put together, it's going to be scary. But Scoot, I feel like he ended off on a very, very high note. Not just for himself, but just to show people what he really can do. And yeah, man, we need that out of school. A lot of stuff on the stat sheet that we don't see that we get from Scoot every night. His leadership, he doesn't shy away from being our point guard. He doesn't care that he's a rookie. He talks. He makes sure he's vocal. He makes sure he says the things he has to say, even if it's not wanted to be heard. So, shout out to Scoot, man. He's a very young talent, and he's gonna have a great career.
When you were meeting with Joe and Chauncey today, did they give you any sense of kind of where they're leaning on the team option they have for you next year for your contract?
Even if I had an answer for that, I wouldn't really give that answer. I feel like that's behind closed doors for what they have going on. But no, I don't have an answer for that. But like I said, man, I'm very grateful for my time here. I can't express the gratitude I have towards this whole organization. So I'm sure they'll do what's best. But I feel like just with that stays behind, and I guess you guys will figure that out when you guys do. Sorry.
Do you think you did enough to show that you deserve an opportunity to here or somewhere else to have a larger role?
Pardon me?
Do you feel like you did enough here to show that you deserve a better opportunity or a larger role somewhere else or here than you had in Boston?
Definitely. Whether like I just feel like any there's a lot of people in this league who are like were in my position who never got the opportunity to play, and then when they do, they might get the chance to show what they can do. So I feel like that's kind of for everybody. But yeah, man, definitely. I feel like I kind of got to show what I can do. Definitely, with more guys out, the leash gets a little longer. So I'm not thinking I'm gonna get to put up those shots every night on any roster, which I don't expect to. I don't want to. That's not really what I want to do. I want to be aggressive. Make plays for others. Use what I can to get downhill, open the floor. And obviously, if it's there for myself, take it and be aggressive. But yeah, I definitely know that. But yeah, definitely with a lot of guys out, you have a longer leash. So with all our guys back, a lot of those shots drop. Finding ways to run to the corner, get open cuts. So you gotta be open to what the situation is, and you gotta know the situation, and you gotta just take full advantage of it. So I knew what I had here, and I was able to do that.
Have you gotten any sense of whether you're going to be in the mix for a spot with the Canadian national team this summer?
No, not sure. Definitely something I want to do. It's a dream come true for a lot of guys. Definitely getting the opportunity when it's, a time like this is definitely something that a lot of players from Canada want to get the opportunity to do. So it's going to be a dogfight, and we have a lot of guys who are very, very talented. I think Canadian basketball is growing a lot. I think this year was our most year having NBA players in the league. But I definitely want to get a chance at that. I feel like I'm gonna have to fight for a spot, which is cool. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a dogfight, and it'll be fun.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. All right, 23-24 season is over. Up and down year, but continue to be really excited and optimistic about where we're headed. The goal, throughout this season with this pretty much brand new group was essentially develop these guys, turn them into functional high-end basketball players, and then also start establishing our identity. How do we play? How do we gel together? Where are we headed? Those types of things. Individually, there were a lot of successes. Scoot Henderson's last 20 games, Deandre Ayton post All-Star break, Shaedon Sharp's first 20 games, Toumani Camara's entire season, Chris Murray's emergence late, Ryan Rupert shooting the ball better, Dalano Banton post-trade deadline. So we're seeing a lot of good things happen throughout our roster. We just need to get that more frequent, more consistent, and happening more often throughout, from two ways all the way to the top of our roster. We've just got to keep getting better. And that's our challenge this offseason. We're going to continue to be aggressive and optimistic, looking for ways to improve this roster for the near future and the long term. And once again, we're just really excited about what we've accomplished thus far, and know we have a lot of work to do, but we're well on our way. With that, I'll open up to questions.
Will there be any kind of philosophical change in terms of going from development first, winning second, to maybe being more, like you said, you want to be aggressive, but being overly aggressive that makes you put together a roster that can actually compete? Mm-hmm.
Well, we're heavily invested in our, in a lot of our young guys. So development will continue to be a focus. We're not going to win at an extremely high level until some of those guys are ready. But at the same time, it's our job to give them the best environment to thrive in, and often that's with additional help. I think this year there were some flaws in the roster, especially in some missing skill sets and just in general imbalance, where it made it complicated for those guys to reach their highest potential. There's skill sets we need to add, like we need more shooters. We've got to open up the floor for guys. We need more playmaking. We need more defenders. There's a lot of things we need. So we're going to continue to evaluate how do we supplement the existing group that we have, but at the same time, not ignoring we're not good enough yet. We don't have enough talent. Like, we've got to keep boosting our talent base. And it might be our most, important thing we do this summer is keep adding to this talent base.
Joe, what do you feel like you do? There's been a lot of injuries, not a lot of continuity this season, so there's a lot of stuff that you don't know about kind of what this group can be together. What do you feel like you do know about this group kind of now that the season's over?
Yeah, you're right, Sean. With all the different lineups that we played this year, it's hard to point to a cohesive group and look and say, well, how do they exactly fit together? So what I've done this year more than anything, and what we're all looking at, is individually, where do these guys stand? What is each player on their own capable of? And then over time here, as we get to, acclimate them more and more, how do they gel together? And, that's what a winning product is going to look like. Once our talent base gets adequate and once our system is able to, we're able to put these guys together in a comprehensive system, then we can start looking at outcomes.
Joe, Chauncey said that he had come into this year believing that you guys could win while developing, and he said maybe he was overly optimistic about that. But to hear you talk about development, and it sounds like patience is going to be really important with the young guys you do have. Chauncey's made a lot of comments lately about wanting to compete and wanting to win. Are you guys in the same place? Or is the front office and the coaching staff in the same place? Like, are you guys on the same page about what this is going to look like going forward?
We're on the same page that on a given night we want to be really, really competitive, and we want to keep taking steps in the right direction. I think that's an important part of this. A year like this one, it was hard when, we weren't as competitive on a cumulative one-loss record from a cumulative one-loss standpoint as we wanted to be. But I think we're really proud of how we competed on most nights. Now, moving forward, our goal is to keep progressing. And the rate can get complicated. The rate matters on how much are our guys developing, how quickly is Scoot coming along, how quickly is Shaden coming along, what transactions do we make this offseason, what does that look like, how talented can we become in the near future. And we're going to have to recalibrate that after this offseason and get a more accurate viewpoint of, okay, what is this roster really capable of?
I mean, are you guys committed to Chauncey going into next season, I guess?
Yes.
End of last season, last exit interview, you mentioned Chauncey's impact on the organization as a whole. Can you give any specific examples, away from the court about how he's impacted the Blazers? What's better about the Blazers in 2024 because of Chauncey?
Yeah. Chauncey's an incredible leader in this organization. Like, he goes above and beyond what a standard coach does. I mean, he helps me with staffing. Like, he's a part of all of our high-end staffing interviews. We spend a lot of time talking about our different departments throughout this organization and how we can make them better. He's really active with feedback and ideas and just looking at ways that we can improve. He's an incredible teacher, not just with our players and, in their development and in their, teaching them how to navigate this league, but also to our staff. I mean, he's a valuable scout. He's got a great eye and great feel for the game. So his personality is thoroughly felt throughout this building.
Joe, how big of a decision can you make on this roster going forward with the limited data set? How willing are you to index yourself? Smaller decisions to bigger decisions, considering the lack of data.
It's one of our biggest obstacles from this season is we didn't get a ton of data. But as a scout, as a person that evaluates personnel, it's sometimes you only have those small samples to make decisions. When we're scouting an international player and they play 8 minutes in that game and you get more out of warm-ups than you do during the game, sometimes you just have to make decisions based on the data you have and make your best guess. And obviously we have way more data than an 8-minute little subset, but on someone like Shaden, we've got to go off of 25 healthy games instead of it would have been ideally 75. But I think we still have windows that we can look through in order to give us a feel for what happened.
Will anything be done contract-wise with Chauncey so that he's not on a one-year guaranteed deal?
With all staff, I'll never get into contract discussions publicly. Yeah.
Just to clarify, the plan, it sounds like if something presented itself that allowed you to, boom, we could be a playoff team, you'll go that route, but you're not going to throw all your chips in like you've talked about in the past because you value the youngsters' growth that much, and that if it comes to it and go to the next season with development being the primary focus again.
It's going to be a similar approach that we took to the trade deadline. Like, if the right player is available, if the right deal is there, if that player fits our timeline, and our timeline being short term, medium term, and long term, if that player fits with what we're trying to build, we will gladly go out and get that player. But that player has to make sense, from A, what does it take to get him, and B, how does he work towards our cap, and C, how does he fit with this group moving forward. So I don't think, once again, like we're not talented enough to be dismissive of any upgrades, and I will look at those, but they do need to fit a certain criteria that they can grow with this group. Mm-hmm.
Joe, obviously you guys are going to have, somewhere up there in a pick, top 5, hopefully. What have been your impressions of, this draft class? Because obviously it's been kind of talked about a little bit weaker. I mean, how does that kind of change how you value that pick this offseason?
We view it as an intriguing opportunity. This draft, there doesn't seem to be a ton of consensus, and we view that as an opportunity. That might allow us to find a player that someone didn't value as highly. They might be able to, get additional value beyond ahead of where they were selected. Like maybe we can find an incredible steal or surprise due to the uncertainty and the, confusion that can come with not a chalk draft. Like there's a lot of changes that can happen. It's going to open up a lot of opportunities for trades. It's going to open up a lot of opportunity for, movement within those pick ranges. So, I mean, for us, we view it as a exciting opportunity.
Did you learn more or enough about the 3 main guards, Scoot, Sharp, and Ant, to have a better idea of what the future looks like in the backcourt, or is it still too early in the process?
Yeah, I mean, we've learned a lot. The number one thing I've learned is they're all incredibly talented. And I keep saying that. You've probably heard me say talent at least 5 or 10 times this session. But it's true that we're not good enough to be dismissive of any talent throughout our roster. And what we saw from Scoot, Shaden, and Ant together and at different times, I think we saw a lot of high-end potential. And really, that's what we're looking for here.
And there was a massive competition with a lot of young forwards. How do you analyze and sort of assess that group?
Yeah, it's a convoluted group in a good way. I think it's one of the big positives of how this season has played out. Toumani came in and essentially won the starting job right out of the gate and got better and better as the season went on. Jabari had a really nice year overall, highlighted by some, I thought, really high-end performances towards the end of the season, especially, obviously he rebounded the ball extremely well, but just in his overall aggressiveness and impact. Chris Murray showed his capabilities on both sides of the ball, like his ability to cover multiple different types of guys, his ability to play off the move offensively, his ability to be a nice glue guy in our league. I think all those things can, benefit us in so many different ways. But at the same time, we've got to figure out, who's playing and who isn't. Like these guys, like they still have a lot to prove and a lot to earn. And each of those guys that I named have some deficiencies that they have to address this offseason and moving forward. And, that's the culture we're trying to build is, come in and win your job. And, I told a lot of guys today in the exit interviews, my job is to find somebody better than you. My job is to find somebody to beat you out. Just as when I brought you in, you beat this person out. So, keep your pedal to the metal here because, our goal is to crank this up. And I like these guys, these young forwards mentalities. It's definitely something we've emphasized. And I'm happy with where these guys are at.
I've asked one more question. We have to ask you about Ayton. He killed it the last 6 weeks. The last time we talked to you publicly was at the trade deadline where he was kind of struggling. What do you make of what he was able to do? And do you expect that guy to show up day one next year?
I do. DeAndre, he's made such steps this year. I mean, he obviously came in. We all know that DeAndre Ayton's extremely talented. But it was really encouraging to see the way he navigated this season. He started with us right when training camp started, so didn't get time to acclimate. And you saw early on it was a little shaky, and I wouldn't even say it's his fault. It was just us learning how to utilize him, and his teammates learning how to find him in the right spots, and then also him just acclimating and adjusting to this system. And by the time January, February hit, you could see like DA was a different player in his mentality. And I think a lot of that was he became comfortable and he began trusting us, and his happiness was increasing by the day. And you could see the relationship between he and his coach and he and his teammates was just getting better by the day. And by the end of the year, you know, it became pretty fluid and common where he was putting together these, you know, these big nights, and none of them were really fluky. This was just DA getting opportunity and DA doing his things. And I couldn't be prouder of him. Like, he's in a great place right now, and there's a lot of growth moving forward. You know, Deandre is still a very young big man in our league who's about as talented as they come, and that's our challenge, to maximize Deandre Ayton, and I'm really excited to see what that looks like. Thank you, everybody, for your coverage all season. You all are awesome. Really appreciate everything you do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jeremy escaped?